Good morning, everyone. This is the Vermont House Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. It is Friday, March 14th, 2025 at 9:01 in the morning. So we're here to have committee discussion, see if committee members have anything to report from other committees, that they're seeing legislation that is in there that they may be working on that would concern us. Um, so I'll open the floor up. Anybody have anything you're seeing?
Two items from ag and food resiliency, et cetera, that may certainly touch on some level of commerce. One is they've been looking at three land use bills, current use and related things. And I'm told they're trying to pull the best parts of those together to get one that would make it less cumbersome and less financially burdensome to withdraw a small piece of that to make it available for affordable housing
Current use, yeah.
from current use. So that's something they're hoping to get out today, but ranking member wasn't sure where it stood. The other one is one that John himself sponsored about small level food producers and preparers, annual gross receipts of $30,000 or less, and removing them from some of the oversight things in order to help encourage that level of industry without adding, of course, any undue risk to the public. But that would be a local food thing that would be available then locally and boost food resiliency in that regard. So those are two things they're hoping to get through today.
I'll talk a little bit about energy and digital. They haven't really doing much right now with any of that. They've got the IT government oversight stuff, energy transition items. The only two bills of relevance to this committee, which they're not even looking at working on right now, is H11, which provides consumer protection provisions for people using broadband, and H277, which is coming up with a technical education program for people wanting to specialize in like weatherization. Is that it?
Anyone else?
Transportation is working on the mileage smart and electric vehicle charging bill. They're trying to get, I don't think it made it into the budget, so they're trying to add it back in. Giving them some more money for marketing. And they're also looking at the RPCs are requesting some funding for the Better Roads grant. That would help municipalities with the road infrastructure. And the committee is working on their own bill that would make some just general changes and clean up to the transportation program. One thing that was of note is solidifying the standards of use for the rail trail system. And that's it.
So healthcare, they're actually working on a bill apropos to our 342 kind of stuff related to violence in hospitals themselves. It's a different issue, but they're going about it a different way. So they're focusing on hospital security plans, that kind of thing.
Yeah, because last year we made some changes and
Okay.
made sure that elevated any of that
Okay.
violence against doctors, nurses, and staff like that.
Well, it sounds like they're revisiting.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound like it's curbed it too.
Yeah. And it doesn't sound directly related to us, but I just thought I'd mention in bigger picture issues, looks like any sort of cost containment that might relate to, workforce and economic development, of course. Looks like that's going to start in the Senate and then come over to the House. With no real, they're talking about reference-based pricing, for example, but I don't discern a whole lot of consensus on that yet. And then meeting this morning, the healthcare committee had word, or folks in general had word that there will be some Medicaid cuts coming from Washington, and the prospect of subsidies, you know, the enhanced subsidy for Health Connect plans is extremely unlikely. So that's, again, it's not.
I think that program, you know,
December 31st.
Yeah, and it just sounds like it won't be the federal to support the additional subsidies, which again, not directly related to us, but big picture, you know, housing, healthcare, big deal. Yeah.
Both the committees I've been watching are talking about housing from different perspectives. Health and Human Services has been working on a new program focused on homelessness that would change the hotel program to something that's more like block grants to community action programs primarily. That's my understanding of that. They've been working on that for a few weeks. And then Environment Committee has been working on land use planning. And I need to dig in more to understand exactly what they're doing, but they've been working on I think tweaks to the land use planning for last year. Probably technical correction, but updates. I'll find out more where that's
are you
going.
watching environment, that bill that they reported on last? Because
Yes.
That was.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was under consumer protection.
Yeah. Right. I forgot about that one. So that went to Human Service. Human Services weighed in on that as well.
Yeah.
I guess, and then went to Environment. So that, and then we heard about that on the floor. I mean, that's come to the floor. And that increase, it adds a few categories of products to the ban on PFAS, dental floss, and a couple other things. So yeah. And the 3-acre stormwater rule as well. That's the other piece they've been working on, which I think is coming to, maybe they're voting on it today. If you have it relates to developments, properties that have more than 3 acres of impervious surface. So whether that's a roof or driveway. And so once you have that, then you need some specific permits. And so they're working on trying to make that a little bit easier to do the permits.
Increase the timeline.
And increase the time, thank you. Increase the timeline to get it done. And there's a funding to kind of, I think with some technical assistance to help. It's not that many properties, but I think it's pretty high bar to inexpensive to get over if you do have more than 3 acres of impervious surfaces. Plus my understanding is a big issue is that fairgrounds, for example, all have more than 3 acres of impervious surfaces and no money and to do it. There's a number of commercial properties, and then a lot of schools also are,
I think a big box store should be.
big box stores. Yeah, so there's commercial properties, schools, some larger residential developments, and fairgrounds are the biggies.
I mean, our people. And the only other thing I see is they have House Bill 472, which came out Ways and Means, and it's just tinkering with some of the requirements of some of the professions in the office, professional regulations, things like requiring cosmetologists to train in textured hair, and requiring LNAs whose licenses have lapsed to retake the exam again and things like that. So I don't really see any.
Why didn't you take it down again?
Yeah,
Or is anything?
I think it requires that. If they've lapsed for like 5 years, or no, it's require assistants to take a competency exam after the license is lapsed for a period of not more than 5 years. So things like that.
Which is judiciary, but we have the bill, so.
Michael is now is looking at extending provisional licenses again. So, if that's, of course.
Right. Anything else? Questions? I think next week we'll be spending it all on CTE, our time there. Today we'll be looking, continuing on chatting about 342 and see if we can get to a place where we can vote it or not. If not, we'll find some time to continue those conversations. We find some polls next week and we can use that. But start seeing some bills coming our way from the Senate as well. So I think that's all I have.
I was just gonna add, Helen's working on a report on some CTEs for us, looking at the current CTEs that are their own district. And putting that together in a report for us so we can understand what their board membership looks like, what's working for them, what kind of programs they offer, like all of the different things. So we can kind of see the current landscape of a district that is a CTE. And so hopefully we'll have that before next Friday. So when you see that, it's gonna be, take a look at it.
Great putting that together.
Helen. our
Oh,
intern.
good, great, super.
We're on the floor at 9:30, so back in here, 10 minutes after the floor, we'll have Rick with us to walk through changes in 342 that Monique worked on with him last night.